Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Layne and I'm a nurse and nurse practitioner student. And in this video, I'm gonna be talking about a book that was an absolute game changer for me when it came to burnout. And that book is called Burnout: The Secrets to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. So I'm gonna be talking about some of my key takeaways from this book and why it really helped me when I was trying to alleviate burnout. All right, let's get into today's video. So we all know that nurse burnout is very, very real. And for me, it got extremely real about six or 8 months ago when I hit one of the darkest times I've had with burnout. And obviously the pandemic has been going on. And I've also been in F&P school and been doing so much stuff. And everything just started to really take a turn for me, and I knew I needed to figure out something to help alleviate the burnout that was going on in my life. And that was just around the time when this book was recommended to me, and this book was exactly what I needed because it had actually very specific things that you could do to alleviate burnout. Because I had read about other things you could do, but all of it sounded so vague and not practical. But this book really breaks down different interventions that you can actually do that are evidence-based and that have been shown to decrease burnout. And that's one of the things I loved about this book, because both of the authors have PhD backgrounds. They're all about evidence-based interventions. So all of the things that they suggest in this book are based on research. So that's not to say that that means that everything that they say is gonna work 100% of the time on 100% of people, but odds are that one of these things, or at least a few of these things that they suggest, are gonna help you if you're experiencing burnout right now. All right, so I'm just gonna go through some of the favorite quotes that I have, some of my key takeaways. So just to kind of whet your palate if this book might be something that you might be interested in. Okay, so one of the things from this book was a factoid that I kind of knew, but it really laid out, and it says that among medical professionals, burnout can be as high as 52%. Nearly all research on burnout is on professional burnout, especially people who help people, like teachers and nurses. That made me feel not so alone or abnormal when I was experiencing burnout, because at first I was thinking, okay, well, no one else is going through this, it's just me. But this helped me know that it's actually pretty common, and I'm not alone in it. Another thing that this book really taught me was really unlocking the stress cycle. So I felt like I always understood the stress cycle before, and for those of you who maybe have never heard of this before, it's kind of like that fight or flight response or freeze. But let's say back in caveman days, if there was a lion chasing you, your body is getting geared up to either fight that lion or to run away, or it might freeze. But your blood is pumping, your blood vessels are constricting, your blood pressure goes up, your body gets tight with tension, and it's ready to spring. And once that lion is taken care of, whether you escape it or I guess you conquer it or vanquish it, your body knows that it can then relax, that the stressor is gone. And so it relaxes until the next stressor comes. But I've learned with this book that what can happen is you can actually get caught up in that cycle of stress, where when you're in a job like nurses, where every single day you're activating that fight or flight response, your body doesn't always know when it's okay to finally relax. When you're having stressful shifts day after day after day, even though you go home and you rest and you tell yourself like, hey, it's okay, relax, mentally, your body doesn't always connect that. And your body physically has to be reminded that it's okay now to relax and that you're safe. And so this was something that was really an eye-opener for me, because I had heard about kind of the stress cycle and what happens when you get that adrenaline rush, but I didn't really know how that applied to me specifically in my job. And even further, I didn't know how to break that stress cycle. So some of the interventions that they mention in the book, which I'll just mention briefly, but I really want you guys to actually read the book because it goes into so much detail about these. It's amazing. But some of them were physical activity. So usually with stress, like I said, like you actually get to run away from the lion and your body knows like, okay, when I stop running, that means that I'm good. So your body knows. But if you're in situations where like we are at work, where it's not really like a physical stressor or anything physical that you might have to do to vanquish that stress, your body doesn't know that you're actually good now. So physical activity is actually one of the major ways that you can help yourself to unlock some of that stress cycle. So whether that be going for a walk, going to the gym, just trying to keep active can actually really help with that. And something I learned even kind of nuanced with that is that just working out one time might not be enough, depending on what kind of stress you've been under. Depending on how long you've been under chronic stress, you might need to start working out a lot more often, and maybe even longer when you first start out to kind of finally break that cycle. And you guys check out my burnout video that I will be making soon. If I've already made it by the time this video comes out, I'll put the card here. But that's something that I had to do where I had to actually like work out starting about 4 days a week at least to help initially break up that stress cycle. And I don't necessarily work out that many times a week now, but when I was first starting to get through some of that burnout, I definitely was, and I needed it. And there would be times where I took a break, and if I took a break for too many days, it started coming back. So I felt like when they said that in the book, that really hit home for me, and I was like, wow, like I knew physical activity was good for you, everyone says, but actually it became real to me in a new way. And some of the other things that they mention is also positive social affirmation. So being around loved ones, having people who can encourage you in your life. Also laughter, which laughter is the best medicine, right? But how many of us are like trying to actually like go home and maybe watch like a comedic show or like laughing with coworkers, which I think we do a lot of the times, but that actually is evidence-based, like when it comes to being therapeutic. Another one is breathing, like mindfulness, breathing, doing deep breathing exercises can also let your body know that like, okay, now is the time to rest and digest, for those who know that. Another intervention that they talked about in the book for burnout as well was affection. So like giving hugs, or if you have a significant other, like giving long kisses has actually been shown to help with burnout and releasing endorphins and I think serotonin as well, to just help you feel relaxed, give you those feel-good hormones. And again, this was something that I was like, wow, that seems so obvious, but it was something that I wasn't really fully tapping into because I guess I'm not really like a naturally huggy, feely kind of person. But I will say I do love a good weighted blanket. So I don't know if that's an exact, I don't know if you can actually replace the two, if it's like a one-to-one thing, but I will say a weighted blanket also helps for those people who maybe don't have a loved one near them because it still makes you feel held. And then the book also talks about how you can also try creative expression. So if you like to paint or do DIYs, things like that can also help with burnout as well. And then there's the good old just having a big cry and having that catharsis moment where you can just let out all those emotions. Maybe just watch, like, I don't know, for those of you who like rom-coms, like you can just watch a sappy rom-com knowing that you're gonna cry at the end and help release some of that pent-up tension. This book also gave me a lot of insight into what is rest. And I think that's something that is starting to be talked about a lot more in our culture, about make sure you're having a rest day and like take time to rest. But I don't know about you guys, but sometimes that felt really ambiguous to me. And I was like, okay, like, what am I really resting the right way? Or like, what does that really look like? And I did like how this book describes rest. And I'm just gonna read another quote here. And it says, what makes you stronger is whatever happens to you after you survive the thing that didn't kill you. What makes you stronger is rest. Rest is quite simply when you stop using a part of you that's used up, worn out, damaged, or inflamed so that it has a chance to renew itself. Rest also includes switching from one type of activity to another. The idea that you can use grit or self-control to stay focused and productive every minute of every day is not merely incorrect, it is gaslighting, and it is potentially damaging to your brain. So a lot of things in there that I liked. I like the fact that rest might not mean, taking a nap on a Sunday. Rest could mean that I've been using this part of my brain a lot and I need to kind of stop. It doesn't even mean like I stopped doing anything. Like something that I've started to do is like after a long shift, like I've gotten into gaming. So gaming is, in my opinion, it's using a very different side of my brain than what I'm using during a shift. And so for me, that's resting that critical thinking, go, go, go mentality. And then when I'm gaming, I usually do more of like a cozy, laid back game. And so it's resting that nurse side of me, and it's letting me use another side creatively. And it also taught me that as someone who's very like go, 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 and who was traditionally using the whole like, grit and like, I just gotta get through this mentality, I realized that that is really not healthy all the time. And there are occasions where you have to give yourself that encouragement, that motivation to just be like, okay, just keep going. But there are also times when you have to tell yourself like, okay, like I don't need to just grow some grit through this. I actually just need to rest. And one more quote that just has to do with rest from the book. It says, a growing body of research has established that we do our best at any given task for only a limited amount of time, energy, or attention. Then our performance drops off, our attention wanders, and our motivation evaporates. But resting after a depleting activity eliminates the effects of fatigue. So what would happen if instead of waiting until we're burnt out, we are intentional about doing activities that rest our nurse muscles at the end of the day? That's something that I've been really musing with since reading this book as well, where it's like, okay, I've been really reactive when it comes to burnout and trying to just recover, but what does it look like in the future for me to try to prevent burnout, and how can I kind of rest my nurse muscles, whether that be empathy, whether that be like critical thinking, whether that be, whatever it is for you, how do you actively rest that instead of waiting for yourself to get burnt out and then trying to recuperate? And that might look different for really everyone, but just food for thought. Comment below and let me know what are some things that you've been doing to either prevent burnout or alleviate it. But really, actually, I'm so really interested to hear if there's anything that you do that helps to prevent burnout. What is your rest activity that helps you with that? All right, guys, so that just about wraps up this video. But that was really just a taste of what I got from this book. This book is packed, let me tell you, packed with things that are just so self-reflective, and just it makes you think about, if you have perfectionism, if you have control issues, like, things that a lot of caregivers are prone to, people pleasing, things like that. Why do we do that, and how do we work through that? All of those things are in this book. So if any of that sounds remotely interesting to you, or the things that I've been talking about do, or you're struggling with burnout, please get this book, guys. This is not a paid sponsorship, anything like that. I'm telling you this because this book really was such a game changer for me, and I think it could be for you too. I'll leave you with one last quote from the book just as you're going out on your way. And it just says that everyone's life is different, and we're all doing our best. Our best today may not be the best there is, but it's the best that we can do today, which is strange and yet true. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like I said, I'll have another video about my burnout story coming soon, but please like this video, please comment below, let me know your story, and please subscribe, and I'll be coming out to you with more videos very, very soon. All right, peace.